Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Honestly, Let's Talk. If you are watching this today and not listening to this recording later, you'll notice something might be a little bit different on your screen today, and that is I'm the only one here. I do not have a special guest this week. I decided that within the Honestly Let's Talk conversations, I was going to do one episode a month called Monthly Check-ins with Todd, where I would just come on, share some things that are happening, some things that are on my mind, some books, some other random recommendations, all kinds of things with all of you. So I'd love to know who's here live. Obviously, you can join in on the chat at any time. I may even do a few giveaways today. Who knows? I always get in trouble for giving too much stuff away, so we'll see. But thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join me for this conversation today. I've really been looking forward to it, but if I'm being completely honest, I have been totally stressing out about this week's Honestly Let's Talk. Because usually when I have a guest on, I just ask questions and then I get to sit back and listen and learn from somebody else. It is very stressful for me to know that I'm the only one on camera and I have to say engaging stuff so that way everybody doesn't just turn this off and not want to listen. But what I'll start with is I think I had my very first viral post. I took a screenshot of something I tweeted. It was also this week's blog post. So if you go to toddnesloney.com and go to my blog, it's called Who is in Your Circle is my blog post. And I wrote it this week because of this post that I just shared. I took a screenshot of my tweet, shared it on Facebook, and it has been shared. I think the last time I looked, it was like 20 or 30 something thousand times. It is crazy. But what essentially it says is that when we are looking at our circles of influence, looking at those people who are actively involved in our lives, I know oftentimes I have been really guilty of myself doing it, but also perpetuating the stereotype that, in our circle, we need to have the cheerleaders and the go-getters and all those people who tell you you're awesome. And it's like, well, yeah, of course, those are people we need to have in our circles. But if there's one thing that I have learned, especially in the last couple of years, is that putting people in my circle who will tell me, no, you can't do that, or have you thought about it a different way, or it might not be a good time to do that right now, or Todd, that was completely inappropriate and you need to either issue an apology, educate yourself, take it down, whatever the case may be. And what I put in the message as well, which I think is something important to note, is that I also put in there from a place of love. Because I think that's hugely important too in thinking about those in our circles. Because obviously, if somebody's just coming in and being a jerk and telling you you're an idiot, stop doing this, those aren't the people that I'm talking about that you need in your circle. What I'm talking about are those that you respect and admire. And I have several people that are close in my life who will message me and say, no, that's a terrible idea, or, oh, you need to stop doing that right away. And even though at times it may be a little uncomfortable or it may offend me, in the moment, I know that it's from a place of love. And so I really take and reflect on that. So I encourage all of you to evaluate your circle and don't just do it today. I know for me, I've got to evaluate those in my circle often, because I get really bad about just putting people around me who make me feel good. And I have to go, I need to grow myself and make sure that I have all kinds of perspectives that I'm learning from. Because we're naturally drawn to people who think like us, who talk like us, who are from the same backgrounds as us. But I have learned life is so much more interesting and fantastic when you surround yourself with people who are so incredibly different. And you might be thinking, Todd, I don't even know where to begin. Like, how do I grow my circle? And for our start of it, for me, it was social media. Like, I just start following people and then telling them I really like what they do, or asking them some questions, or just connecting with them in that way. And I know some of you on here may be thinking, and if you're like me, it maybe, I really struggle with finding that circle. I really struggle with finding people in my life that I can trust, that I can begin to open up to and allow them to speak into me. And my own personal history, I've always kind of existed in the circle, but on the outskirts of the circle, if that makes sense. I've been in the room to hear the conversations, and at times my perspective has been asked or grown, but I've often found myself on the outskirts. And even today, with many of the things that I do, I've been lucky enough in my career recently to find some success with some books I've released or some things that I've spoken. And a lot of people make the assumption of, oh, well, now you can say this or do that, or these people are, or you look like you're involved here. And I still often find myself feeling like an outsider, and feeling like my words don't matter as much as other people. I've learned through this pandemic that there were definitely some groups and people that I were involved with that it became very clear to me that when I wasn't making them money, I wasn't quite as important to them, and I wasn't evaluating myself and the people I was surrounding myself with enough. And so I really had to work and grow in that area, and then continually doing that and knowing I have to take care of me. And part of taking care of me is evaluating who I'm spending my time and energy on. So there's my little tangent on that. There's a lot of things I'm going to talk about today. If you know me, you know I'm all over the place. So we're going to be hitting all kinds of stuff today. So I want to share with you a book. Now, I got the ARC of this book. For those of you that don't know, the ARC, the ARC is the Advanced Reader Copy. I have read two other books, Braced and Focused by Allison Gerber, and I loved them so much. And you know me, I'm all about sharing the books online whenever I find a book that I love. And so I shared about it multiple times online. And then recently the author contacted me and she was like, hey, I'm releasing a new book in the middle of the year this year. I'd love to send it to you to check out. And of course, I'm going to say yes. I mean, a free book, number one, but by an author I love, number two, not knowing if I would enjoy it as much. And the book is called Taking Up Space. I think it comes out in May. It is available for pre-order online, being released by Scholastic. But this book, oh my goodness, I did not expect this book to rip my heart out the way that it did. The author writes her stories about characters that play elements in her own life. Braced was about a young girl who had to wear a body brace to fix her spine. Focused was obviously about dealing with the focus issues, but Taking Up Space deals with a girl who is living with a mom who has eating and food issues and insecurities. And the girl, who is the star basketball player and is entering puberty and body is changing, starts to have some of those same food issues begin to pop up in her life. And it's a powerful story of identifying where you're weak, leaning on others, letting your family know, counseling. I mean, there were so many powerful things in this book, but I could really see this book speaking to kids. I definitely recommend it. And speaking to adults too, it spoke to me. And one thing I think that's really important about books like Taking Up Space, when we talk about issues like food addiction, and body dysmorphia and things like that, I think it's also important to remember that stereotypically people like to assume that it's just a thing that primarily females deal with, but it is a very prevalent issue with male students as well. So being able to have those open and honest conversations, I think, is really important. So if you need a good book recommendation, go check out Taking Up Space. It's not out yet, but you can pre-order it. I can't send you my copy because she signed it, and I'm kind of going to save it for that. But definitely go check that out. Now, there's something else that I'm really into, and that's cooking. I don't do it as often as I would like to do it, but I do actually enjoy cooking. And, I've had my eye on this Ninja Foodie grill for like a year now, but I didn't really feel like, if it's one more appliance I'm going to put on my counter, am I actually going to use it? Things like that. Well, let's just say I've used it like 6 times just in the last 2 weeks. It has been amazing. And it comes with this cool little cookbook that I've actually been using to cook stuff out of it. But it has the grill inside of it, which I love because I don't like to grill outdoors too much because I'm in Texas and it's hot and I don't like to be out there super hot like that. That's not for me. And so I love grilling indoors, and it tastes just like an outdoor grill. So it's been a super lifesaver, but I'm actually using it way more for the air fry feature. I mean, you can also bake in it too. So I have a pie that I'm going to be baking in it next week. I'll share a photo on my Instagram. I do not get paid to talk about this stuff, by the way. I wish I did. I'm just sharing with you stuff that I like because personal recommendations are always the best. So another random thing that I want to share with all of you today is okay, this may be a little too personal for some of you, but I don't really care. It's my show. I can talk about what I want. And so I have always been one where deodorant has always bothered me a little bit, where sometimes it would leave rashes, things like that. And I recently, in the last year or so, have found this native deodorant. Have y'all heard of this before? They have tons of scents and things like that. And they make body wash and shampoo now and toothpaste too. But I thought, oh my goodness, like this is like $3 a container or $4 a container. I was like, I can't pay that much for deodorant, but it's paraben free, aluminum free. And I was like, I'm tired of getting rashes. And my wife was trying to find some deodorant too for this. We had the same sensitive underarm skin issue. And so I paid it. I don't like paying that kind of stuff, but I paid it. And I have been hooked ever since because I have learned it is the only deodorant I can wear that doesn't cause any chafing or doesn't cause any rash or anything like that. The scents smell good. It's a little expensive for each one, like I said. But if you sign up for like the monthly or every 2 months or every 3 months on their site, I think you get like 10% off. So I always feel good about saving a little bit every now and then. But I've really actually enjoyed it. I use their body wash and shampoo. It's like any other one. I didn't really find anything special about it. And I see somebody else put in there that they used Loom. I've never heard of Loom instead. I'm going to have to check Loom out. But I've loved Native. I also use Native's toothpaste. I've really enjoyed using their toothpaste too. But again, it is a little bit of an investment. So if you don't want to pay like $4 or $5 for your deodorant, find something else that works for you. And again, I'm not getting paid anything. I don't have a special code or like use my link or I don't have any of that. I'm just sharing with you. This has worked wonders for me. And I know some of the people that I've talked to about when I was looking at using it, they're like, well, I don't know. I might need my deodorant to last all day or things like that. This deodorant, when you start using it regularly, it actually does last all day. So that's also been a really important thing. And Cindy Martin at Future in Marketing, I don't know about that. I need to get these companies to pay me to talk about their stuff. That's what I need to do. But speaking of companies that pay me, this company doesn't pay me, but my wife runs it. So my wife runs an earring business called the Sunrise Shop. She does so much with it. I'm so proud of her. But today she just released a bunch of Disney ones. Guys, she has, look at these little Disney ears with all the different kinds. Oh my goodness. She has released all these Disney ones. I'm actually going to give these away. And so I'm going to give these away within the next 24 hours. All you have to do is tell me what your favorite Disney movie is in the comments on this on YouTube or on Facebook, doesn't matter, or on Twitter. And I'm going to pick somebody to give these earrings away to. But I am the biggest Disney fan. So is my wife. We honeymooned at Walt Disney World. We've been like 4 times, maybe 5 since we've been married. We went to Disneyland for the first time 2 weeks before Corona hit. So glad we got that in. But we are the biggest Disney fans. And those of you who are following my life journey know that my wife and I are pregnant with twins right now. And so I'm already looking at all the Disney stuff to get them. And I cannot wait until we can go and actually visit Disney with my kids again. So definitely. But if you go check her out, if you use the code Todd Speaks on her website when you check out, you get free shipping. So that and also includes my books. I've got all my books on her site. She's got a little link that says Todd Nesloni. I've got t-shirts, stickers. You can get free shipping on all that if you use the code Todd Speaks. But speaking of twins, I am super pumped that on Monday, March the 1st, we get to find out the gender of our twins. Everybody's kind of been asking, what are we hoping for? Obviously, like any parent, we are hoping for 2 healthy babies. Maybe not any parent wants 2 of them, but we are hoping for 2 healthy babies. If we had our dream world, obviously it would be 1 boy, 1 girl, just because this was a difficult journey to get to this point of being pregnant. And so we pretty much know that this is probably our one and done pregnancy. And so being able to just get both genders right away. My wife is super girly, so she definitely wants to dress the girls up. And I want a boy and a girl and just be good to go. But boys run in my side of the family. girls run in her side of the family. So who knows what we're going to end up with, but we find out March 1st. And we are having a gender reveal with just our family. And it's just our immediate family on Saturday, March 6th. And then we'll announce that evening on social media and share with everybody else. Let me just say, being pregnant during a pandemic, it's really difficult in some ways. And it sucks because knowing this is probably our only pregnancy and it's our first, and I hate that we can't like have a normal big gender reveal. We're having just our immediate family. We're doing it outside of my aunt's house with like 12 feet distance tables because my wife is like, I'm not getting sick. I'm not having anything happen like that. And I'm not risking putting these baby or my health at risk. So we've got 12-foot distance tables, and I think there's going to be like 10 people who are coming. It's just, like I said, our immediate family. But it's like, oh, we don't get – and then we're not doing any baby showers in person. We may do a drive-by baby shower or a virtual one. But it's just weird. And it's just kind of like, you know, we want to, obviously. I mean, who wouldn't want to do those things? But it's just – we are really trying to not only – be mindful of our health, but we also want to be good example because I'm sharing online all the time. People who follow me know what my belief is about mask wearing and things like that. And I want to set a good example for the kids watching and for other people. And so that's our thing. More power to everybody else, however you want to do it. But for us, that's just the way we roll. But it definitely feels weird not getting to have those. Even the way we told our family that we were pregnant was just not the way we had dreamed, but you know, when something is still there that you get to be happy about, we're basking in the happiness. I did get the nursery all finished today, as in emptied out, because you see the nursery was our catch-all room where we had a little bit of everything. So I've been cleaning it for like 3 months now, but today I finished it. It's empty. So once we know the genders, we can figure out the paint color and things like that. But we did buy a ceiling fan that we really like for the room today. So that'll be a fun thing to figure out. But as far as anything else going on, you know, I don't want to keep people here for too long. I will say I am a huge entertainment buff. And so I literally every day spend reading all these websites over the latest movies, TV show, music, celebrities. Like that is something I'm obsessed with. So obviously, if you're here today checking this out, I want to give you some great recommendations of things that you could watch on TV. And you might be thinking, I don't really have time for this, Todd. I don't have time for TV. Well, you're here at this conversation today, so maybe you do have time. But I am a big TV fan. So I'm going to go through a lot of the different things. And these are not the end all be all. These are my current favorites. So if you are an Amazon Prime fan and you have access to all the things that are in Amazon Prime, one thing that I would recommend is the Amazon Prime original TV show, The Wilds. It was so fantastic. I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but I loved it. It's about a group of girls who are headed to a girls' retreat, and they're all from different walks of life, different families, and being sent to this retreat for different reasons. But their plane crashes, and they wake up stranded on an island. And it's about them, and the whole season takes place within 2 timelines. The timeline of when they were rescued and them looking back on what happened, and then the timeline of them actually going through when they were on the island. There's a lot of twists and turns, a lot of things. I wish I would have figured some things out. I like being the one that's like, oh, I knew that was coming. But there's some things I did not see coming, and it ends on a killer cliffhanger. But it's already been renewed for season 2. So I was okay with that. There's nothing worse than wasting all your time on a TV show that you get really excited about, and then they cancel it. So that one does already have a season 2 that is being recorded. So check that out. If you are on Netflix, we just finished Firefly Lane. Everybody seems to be going crazy about this on social media. I wasn't that big of a fan. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I have to see what happens. I love Katherine Heigl. I still am kind of annoyed with the way she left Grey's Anatomy, but I do like her as an actress, and so I enjoyed watching her. but I wasn't like ranting and raving about the show. It bounces timelines constantly. And so there were several times where I was like, what timeline are we in? Like, are we before this? Are we after that? Are we around this? And then it was just, I did not enjoy that part. But I think Kristen Hanna is the one who wrote the book that it's based after. And my wife loved the book, The Nightingale, that she wrote. So that's why we checked it out. But it's okay. But I would say go ahead and watch it, but don't think it's going to be your favorite show ever. Bridgerton was better, but it's a totally different kind of show than Bridgerton. As far as Disney Plus, obviously, if you're on Disney Plus, you better be watching WandaVision. It is fanatically amazing. I mean, it is amazing. So go check it out. I'm obsessed with all things Marvel, but WandaVision is the top of the pack to me right now with creativity. Elizabeth Olsen, who for some reason most people on Twitter this week just realized she's the Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen's sister. Where have you been, people? Like, duh. But it is so good. And I think Elizabeth Olsen should win any award for acting that there is out there with the way she portrays the amount of different personalities and characters in this season of WandaVision. So go check it out. But if you are on Disney Plus, like any streaming network, there are originals that are on there. And let me tell you, there's a Disney Plus original movie that launched back towards the beginning of when Disney Plus launched that like nobody I talked to has seen. My wife and I both cried in this movie. It was so good. If you have Disney Plus, you need to go look up the movie Timmy Failure, Mistakes Were Made. Timmy Failure, Mistakes Were Made. It is such a cute, sweet movie that has it has a lot of heart. We laughed several times. Such a good movie. So go check it out. Flora and Ulysses, based after the book, also came out recently on Disney Plus. I think it was this last week, and it was pretty good too. We enjoyed that as well. That was one of my mom's favorite books, so we wanted to definitely watch that. But I love Timmy Failure, Mistakes Were Made, and I'm so sad at the lack of people that have watched that movie on Disney Plus. So go check it out if you have Disney Plus. As far as Hulu, I am a big suspense fan. And Hulu came out with an original movie a couple months ago called Run, R-U-N. And it's got Sarah Paulson in it from the American Horror Story TV show and some other stuff. It was so good. It is not like scary, like it's not a horror movie, but it is a suspenseful movie. I was hooked. The acting is phenomenal. But go watch Run if you like a suspense movie. It's about a girl who's being raised by her mother, and she assumes she's got all these illnesses because her mom has been pumping her with meds and putting her in a wheelchair. Only as she begins to learn is that she's not as sick as her mom is telling her she is, because her mom is trying to control her. And so she eventually tries to escape from her mom's grip. Really good and impeccable acting. So check that out. And then the last two, HBO Max. If you are an HBO Max fan, I recently got HBO Max. Let me tell you that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion, worth the at least the trial run. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion was so good too. But they just released a new series on there called The Head. And it was pretty good. I didn't love it only because I figured out the ending before it ended. So I was kind of like, well, I guess I was better than the writers were hoping I was going to be. And I don't like figuring out the ending. I want to be like, I like figuring out because I feel smart, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, I wish I wouldn't have figured that out. But go check out The Head. It is about a group of researchers in Antarctica who are doing some researching. And then they were... people start to die, and then they start to try like which one of us is doing it, and then they come in to be rescued, and they go and find some people who were living and figure out by interviewing them kind of what really happened at the research facility. It's not a scary movie. It's not a horror. It is a little suspenseful at moments, but it was pretty good. I would recommend it. And last but not least, Discovery Plus. So my wife and I got Discovery Plus. It's like $5 a month, but we got it because of Magnolia Network. The Chip and Joanna Network is exclusively premiering on there right now. And so, of course, we had to go watch the new episodes of Fixer Upper. But I am obsessed with two shows on Discovery Plus. One of them airs on TLC, and it's called Thousand Pound Sisters. I am so hooked to that show with Tammy and Amy, and I'm so invested in their journey. And I just want to go slap Tammy and tell her to get her life together. But Amy, I love Amy, and so it's a funny show. But the other one we love is Joanna Gaines' new show, Magnolia Table, where she cooks and does recipes. Now, we've got her cookbooks because my wife is the biggest fan. We're an hour and a half from Waco. We've been there a bunch. And some of it's not as easy to cook as you think. But I love the cooking show because you could tell Joanna is not a professional cook. And so the way she holds herself, the things she says, the way she's like, I don't really do it like that. Like, I make it look like this, or I just do this to cut corners, or here's how we make it easier. I don't know how to turn this on. Can somebody come turn this on? Like, I love just that human element of things. So those are all the broadcasting download sites that if you need something to watch, go check it out. So hopefully in today's episode of Honestly Let's Talk, you got a book recommendation, you got a jewelry recommendation, you got a deodorant recommendation, some movies that you could check out. You could go check out the new Ninja Food Grill. If you want to grill some good stuff at your house. And you got to update on the Nesloni twins. So I'm going to try to do these episodes once a month where I just talk about a bunch of things and give recommendations and share part of my life journey and what's going through my head. So thank you for joining. But I want to leave you with one thing. I know that there is a lot of you who are watching who are educators or listening who are educators. And I know that right now, you are hurting and exhausted and feeling like you are getting pulled in every direction, and you probably don't feel like you're doing any of it well. What I want to hear you to hear today is that those are completely okay feelings to feel. Don't let anybody gaslight you and tell you how you should be positive. Oh, well, at least you have this. Don't let people do that to you. Own your emotions, feel them, work through them, embrace them, have people help you work through them. But it's okay to feel frustrated and angry and upset and emotional because this is tough, what we're all going through right now. And I want you to know you're not walking through this alone. But know that today to take that time for you to refuel. And you may be thinking, there's too much on my list, Todd. There is a lot on your list. I'm sure there is a lot on your list. But if you don't take any time for you, you can't be good for anybody else. And so even if it's 5 minutes, even if it's 10 minutes, go for a walk. Buy an adult coloring book and color in a coloring book. Go watch your favorite TV show, put on some headphones with some meditation music, go garden, go call a friend, or just go sit in silence with the lights off. Whatever your thing is, go and do that and spend some time taking care of you because you are worth it and you deserve it. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. I hope this episode wasn't a complete letdown, but at least I saw some people in the chat. So thank you all so much for being here.